Welcome back to CrunchtimeChaos. The 2025-2026 season just wrapped up, and it was legendary. Set up the future and is what's to come. So let's get into it, starting with October and November. Opening night kicked off NBA season was hyped. The reigning defending NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder took on the Houston Rockets. Obviously, the Rockets made a trade for KD during Game 7 in the NBA Finals. Brought him over here for Van Fleet. Turned out to be a big miss all season long. But KD was recently on the squad, and they definitely need him, especially because they lost in 7 games to the Warriors last postseason, and they needed much-needed offense, and Kevin Durant was here. And this game did not disappoint. A double OT battle, Shea over 30+, but Sengun stole the show with 39 points. He was sensational. KD in his Rockets debut, 23, 9, and 3. And what a way to kick it off. And Wemby, made his presence known against the Texas rival Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flagg's debut as well. Wemby, 40 and 15. He would set the precedent for the rest of the regular season and the postseason. And meanwhile, in LA, we had Slim Luka. Luka was on the cover of some magazine, looking slim, getting in shape. Best shape I've seen him since, honestly, his rookie year. He was blowing by people, dunking, just straight cooking. Started season off 40 against the Warriors. Then against Timberwolves, 49. And then another 40-point performance. 3 straight 40-point performances. LeBron wasn't there due to sciatica issues. And Luka started his early MVP campaign on historic pace. Austin Reeves, he would cook as well, looking like averaging 30 a game at that game winner against the Minnesota Timberwolves as well. The floater, the team was looking good. Luka and Austin Reeves backcourt looked very nice. But heading into November, the Thunder were looking very unbeatable. They were 20-1. They were early 20-1. And they were looking unfair, to be honest with you. They were looking very unfair throughout the whole month of November. Also, I forgot to mention, Shea, no Halliburton, obviously, towards the Achilles. Pacers had over 50+ points that game. I believe it was 57, if I'm not mistaken. But Thunder, 20-1, complete domination. They were dominating the NBA. Jokic was player of the month. He was averaging 29, 13, 11, averaged a triple-double. That will later set the precedent for the later of the season. Cade, play of the month as well. 29, 6, and 9. And the Pistons began with a breakthrough this year. Made the 6th seed last season. Eventually lost the Knicks in the first round. It was shocking. Some people had some expectations this year, especially with no Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard towards Achilles, and no Halliburton as well. The Pistons start with 16-4 on the season. They sat top of the Eastern Conference. The Spurs, 13-6. The Lakers, 15-4. LeBron will return into that lineup. The Knicks, 13-6. And the beginning of Kawhi Leonard's take over this season. Ja completely fell off this month. The beginning of his fall off. Now heading into December, the Spurs, ladies and gentlemen, they would shock the world as they will beat the Thunder in the NBA Cup by 2, one of the best games of the regular season. And they blew them out on Christmas, 117-102. That's when the world, including myself, took them really seriously. And then also in the NBA Cup, the New York Knicks win the NBA Cup, taking down the San Antonio Spurs. It was a great game, for a fact. But those teams won't be the last time they see each other, though. That's for damn sure. Brunson won the Cup MVP, and we had a crazy Josh Hart moment, which is crazy. But I'm not gonna go into that one right now. We had some elite Christmas Day matchups. That Knicks come back against the Cavs on Christmas was electric. There's nothing like a New York Christmas. Cooper Flagg will have multiple 30-point performances in the month of December. And my boy CP3, he got sent home by the Clippers. This is arguably your franchise GOAT, and they sent him home and retired. And the Clippers were awful too. 5-16 at that point. They were absolutely trash, and they sent my boy home. That's all over the NBA world. And Jaylen Brown started to begin his tear, averaging beginning in that month, averaged 31 a game. In January, shifting to January, the Cavs, they began to get into form. Denver, they tried to look for consistency, though. Jokic hyperextended his left knee, and then he was out for basically a month. And Jamal Murray had to step up, and the emergence of Peyton Watson in that span. And we're going to talk about him more later. But boy, did they miss him later on. Jokic was out for a month. The Knicks began to struggle towards middle of the end of the month. Lost 9-11. I was there for the MLK Day massacre where the Mavericks won 127-97. Max Christie had 6 threes in the Garden. Just abysmal. The Knicks fans were booing. But we had a legendary duo, a rookie duo, Con Canuple and Cooper Flag. Flag, 49 points. Con Canuple, 34 points. These two were going band for band that day. And it's one of the best rookie duos we have ever seen. Arguably the best in NBA history. Jaylen Brown will fully cement himself as the MVP candidate, carrying the Boston Celtics with no Jason Tatum. But meanwhile, in the background, Jason Tatum was beginning to ramp up. Jaylen Brown dropped 50 against the Clippers. Jimmy Butler will tear his ACL, got surgery in February, but he was ruled out for the rest of the season, derailing any chance of the Warriors going to make a deep playoff run, hoping to do so as they lost in the second round due to the Timberwolves. Steph Curry played in game 1, got injured, missed the rest of the series. We don't know how far they could have went. Could they have made the finals? I doubt it. Could they have made it to the conference finals? Maybe. We don't know. It's a hypothetical. But shifting into February, the Knicks started to regain some consistency. Khan breaks a 3-point record very early with 207 made threes, previously held by held by Keegan Murray. Wow, that just only had it for about 3 years. Keegan Murray was nice. It's a damn shame. Then we had the trade deadline. The league started to shake up and take into some form. James Harden traded the Cavs for Darius Garland, and the Cavs would begin to go on a heater at that point. Trae Young and AD will go to the Washington Wizards. AD trade backfired very quickly. Also, Nico Harrison, au revoir. His ass was he was gone. He was gone. Trae Young, they fully shifted into the Jalen Johnson era over there. And Trae Young, AD with the Wizards trailing will only go on to play 5 games. AD never stood up there. And he looks like the damn song, You Light My Fire, Baby. Like that. Celtics, they reached one of the top seeds of the Eastern Conference. Jaren Jackson Jr. will get traded to the Utah Jazz, officially putting an almost end to that Memphis Grizzlies era. Desmond Bane obviously got traded to the Orlando Magic in the offseason. Jaren Jackson now with the Utah Jazz. Kristaps Porzingis got traded to the Warriors, trying to build some momentum over there, trying to get one last push, especially with Jimmy Butler out. But in the month of March, things will get real crazy. We haven't talked about Luka in a while, but ladies and gentlemen, he was on that hookah, and so was the Los Angeles Lakers. Actually, going back to February real quick, the All-Star game was one of the best in recent memory. Anthony Edwards won All-Star Game MVP. Wemby took it seriously. Looked like everyone took it seriously, and it was a great time. It was surprisingly a good game. I don't like the format, but it was actually surprisingly a good watch. Now, in March, Lakers on a heater. 15-2 in the month of March. Luka and the Lakers were on an 8-game winning streak. During that 8-game winning streak, Luka averaged 40. Nearly 41, but 40. And he had a 60-point night against the Miami Heat. Jason Tatum will return from his Achilles injury at 15, 12, and 7, a near triple-double at home, a raucous crowd. That was a great sign. Shout out to Jason Tatum for coming back in a record time. I believe it was under 300 days. Obviously, tore against the Knicks in the semifinals during Game 4 on the road in New York. The Spurs were on a tear, a nasty tear, but they lost to the Knicks in blowout fashion on the road in Madison Square Garden, snapping their 11-game winning streak. The Hawks in the Eastern Conference creeping up a little bit. Hawks were on 11-game winning streak. Sticking with the East, the Charlotte Hornets. In the last 28 games, 22-6, being one of the best teams since the All-Star break. Jamal Murray made his first All-Star appearance, very well deserving, and was Wilson Cook had a 45-point night and a 53-point night as well. And on a random Tuesday night, nothing expected. The Heat play the Wizards. Thought it was a mad game, but I kept getting Twitter notification after Twitter notification from the NBA. That Bam, 40 at half, 63 three quarters, and then he had 83. 83! Like, I couldn't believe it. I had to pull over on the highway to about to see my wife, and then I had to pull over and see see the highlights. I'm like, damn, 83! 83! He had 83 points. And then we also had a tight race in the Western Conference for that 3 seed. Remember, the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Rockets, and the Timberwolves all battling for position. Meanwhile, OKC is just chilling for that 1 seed. But the Spurs would slowly start to creep up, but it was too little too late. Heading into April, Lakers went on high. Everyone's going crazy. But then Shea and the Thunder just absolutely obliterated them. Straight BTA. They won, I believe, 139-87. It was disrespectful. But what's hurt for Lakers fans and honestly NBA fans, Luka injured his hamstring that day and was never seen from again. Austin Reeves was injured as well. Got revealed later a couple of days ago. Was playing through injuries. Cooper Flagg, a 51-point performance as well. The youngest player to score 50 per game. That Rookie of the Year race was tight, but Cooper Flagg, that 50-point performance, sealed the deal. Steph Curry finally returned after nearly 2 months, and he was finally back. All the seeds were wrapped up and ready to go in the Western Conference. Thunder, 1 seed. Spurs, 2nd seed. The Nuggets, the 3 seed. The Lakers, the 4 seed. Rockets, the 5th seed. The Timberwolves, the 6th seed. And in the East, the Pistons claimed the number 1 seed. Their first 60-win season since the Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Rasheed, Ben Wallace days. Celtics were the number 2 seed. The Knicks were the 3rd seed. Cavs were the 4th seed. Ever since that James Harden trade, they began to go on fire. The Raptors were on the radar, were under the radar, but they started to soar into high momentum, led by Scotty Barnes, making his 2nd All-Star appearance, and Brandon Ingram having a resurgence over there. And the Atlanta Hawks were the 6th seed. Now, for the play-in. Hornets versus Heat. It was a great game, to be honest with you. Very great game. LaMelo Ball, the dirty play against Bam Adebayo. Was it dirty? Kind of was. He did trip him. But we had a great game down to the wire. Went to overtime. Kakanabo did struggle. We saw a pattern back to the Orlando game as well. He sold the bag. LaMelo Ball, he was great down the stretch. You bring in Kobe White during the trade deadline. A very great pickup. Tyler Hero had a great game. Andrew Wiggins was great. Davion Mitchell was spectacular. Miles Bridges did his thing. The steady vet on that team. And he and the Hornets won that game, eliminating the Heat, and they have some questions to deal with in the off season. In the Western Conference play-in, the Blazers, obviously we had that Chauncey Billups issue early in the season, Terry Rozier, Damon Jones, a lot of those issues, but Thiago Splitter, under the radar, did a very great job with that Portland Trailblazers squad. They faced the Phoenix Suns in the play-in, and Denny Avila went into Phoenix, Arizona, and handled his business. He had 40. Handled his business, and they claimed the 7th seed. And then the Warriors made a slight comeback to take down the Clippers. Kawhi was sensational this season, and they won that matchup. And meanwhile, the Magic played the Hornets, and the Magic beat the Hornets to get that 8th and final spot in the Eastern Conference. And the Suns were able to stove off the Warriors as Jalen Green had back-to-back 30-point performances to win that one. Now heading into the playoffs. In the East, we're going to go series by series. The 1-8 matchup. The Pistons versus the Magic. And it's so crazy. If you had deja vu in 2003, the Pistons and the Magic, every game went the exact same in that series. The Magic had a 3-1 series lead. I'm not gonna lie, I thought the AC was gonna be the 1 seed. They're looking weak. Jalen Duren looks sorry. He looks like straight trash during that series and the whole postseason, but I'll get to him in a second. He was awful. But I firmly believe Franz Wagner was the key in that series. And if Franz Wagner was healthy, I think they would beat the Detroit Pistons because they needed that shot creation. Without him, they just staled over time. It also couldn't help. The Magic just blew a historic Game 6 lead. They shot so bad that they failed themselves, which led to Jamal Mosley getting fired and the Pistons blowing out the Magic in Game 7. Also, give credit where credit's due. Cade and Paolo Banchero had an insane Game 5 duo. Both had 45. Nasty. In that 4-5 matchup, Cavs versus Raptors. Series went 7 games. Cavs were up 2-0, protecting home court. Then the Raptors did the same thing, protecting home court. Brett Ingram plays terrible in that series. RJ Barrett, his best playoff series of his life, of his career. He was sensational. Sky Barnes did his thing, and the shot heard around the world. The Canadian bounce, the Kawhi bounce to win Game 6. Ultimately, they had a big lead in Game 7. Jamal Shea, Colin Murray boys, all young pieces in Toronto showed up. No man quickly in that series, though. Sad, I wasn't seeing in that series. But the Cavs did what they had to do. Otherwise, they lost in the first round. It would have been analytically bad. But we'll get to the analytics in a little bit. Then the Knicks, not yet, not the Knicks. Yep, the Knicks versus the Hawks. We know how bad it was. The Knicks took Game 1. Brunson, masterclass. And then CJ McCollum turned to Michael Jordan for 3 games. Hawks led 2-1. All hope was lost. Obviously, I'm a Knicks fan, ladies and gentlemen. But Mike Brown made the adjustment that everyone wanted. I wanted, but he put the ball in Cat's hands more, being that point center. And ladies and gentlemen, they just took off, blowing out the Hawks in Game 4, Game 5, and that absolute ass whooping in Game 6. Terrible. Led by 50 in the first half. Over. OVAH. Over. And then the Celtics versus the Sixers, historic rivalry. Those two teams met the most in the NBA history, dating back to Wilt and Bill Russell, Larry Bird, Dr. J, AI, Paul Pierce. Now, obviously, the Embiid era against Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, the crew. Celtics, honestly, the favorites. Honestly, looking like the favorites in the Eastern Conference, especially the Jason Tatum coming back, looking to have a collision course with the OKC Thunder or San Antonio Spurs out west. They were the favorites, despite the Knicks and the Pistons. But the Celtics had a 3-1 lead, and then they blew it. Joel Embiid came back, and that made the difference. In that Game 4, they lost. Everybody was on Embiid, slowing the pace down. And then you could obviously see the pace being slowed down. But Paul George, I got to give credit where credit's due. Came back from a 25-game suspension because he was doing some stuff he shouldn't be doing. But shout out PG. Was great in that series. Tyrese Maxey was great. VJ Edgecombe was terrific as well. And they came back from 3-1 down and won that one. Jason Tatum got injured in Game 6. And the Celtics made the smartest thing to do and decided not to play him. Preserve him for the future. And Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, the Celtics season ended in Game 7. For the first time in franchise history, they blew a 3-1 lead and the Sixers advanced. Now into the Western Conference. Thunder versus Suns. Keep it short and sweet. J-Dub, the hamstring injury has been lingering all season long. He would get injured. In that series, but it didn't matter. Thunder swept them. Shea was crazy. But the next series, the Lakers versus the Rockets. No Luka, no AR. The world was picking the Rockets, probably like 5. But KD, out for Game 1. And the Lakers had hope. Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, and a 41-year-old LeBron James getting the job done. They will win in 6 games, protecting home court, and they took a 3-0 lead as well. As in Game 3, the Rockets made terrible decisions, and LeBron made the game-tying 3 in regulation to force OT. Then the Rockets had great back-to-back games, and the Lakers blew them out in Game 6 to win that one. Lost Reeves will come back later on in that series as well, but LeBron and Lakers moved on to face on the Thunder. Now, 3 versus 6, Timberwolves versus the Nuggets. Low-key becoming a rivalry now. Jokic coming back, but a lot of injuries on the Nuggets side of things, and Jokic did not look good. Deontay DiVincenzo tore his Achilles. Jalen McDaniels was sensational in the first round. Anthony Edwards got hurt. played through with Julius Randle, Ayo Dosunmu. We had some unlikely heroes. Ayo Dosunmu had a 43-point game. Terrence Shannon Jr. stepped up. It was next man up mentality, a straight up dog material from the Minnesota Timberwolves as they won in 6 games against the Nuggets. Called upset or whatever the case may be, but the Timberwolves moved on in the second round. The Spurs versus the Blazers. Spurs take game 1, but the Trailblazers showed a lot of promise. Denny was solid. Jrue Holiday, the steady veteran presence. Wemby got a concussion in game 2, obviously. The Trailblazers took game 2 as they had to. Series shifted to Portland. They will win. The Spurs will win game 3 without Wemby. And in game 4, Trailblazers were up over 20, about 20, and the Spurs returned the favor and won by 20. They absolutely blew them out. And the Spurs were going to win that series in 5 games. Still sticking to the West. Thunder, Lakers. Obviously, no Luka. Austin Reeves back, but too much firepower over there in Oklahoma City. AJ Mitchell will prove that he is here to stay, and maybe a future star in this league, but he was a certified bucket in that series. Big time game 3s and game 4s on the road in LA. Rui was great, and DeAndre Ayton was straight up bad. Chet Holmgren, 20 and 10. But don't worry, things can't get much worse than that, right? It'll get much worse than that. And then Thunder will sweep. They will move on to the conference finals for the second year in a row. Shea did not shoot the best in the series. Marcus Smart did a great job, but it did not matter. Now, the Timberwolves was the Spurs series. Timberwolves stole game 1 on the road. Anthony Edwards returned very early, had that little injury, ACL injury, came back, played off the bench, and the Spurs took game 2 to even the series 1-1. And then that nasty elbow by Wemby, and then both teams split in Minnesota. Spurs take game 5, and the Spurs won game 6, where Anthony Edwards let the bench, shook hands early, and Spurs advanced to the conference finals. Meanwhile, in the East, the Pistons and Cavs, both coming off 7-game series, will face off in a 7-game series. Pistons protected home court, led 2-0. Cavs responded, led 2-0, had a 3-2 lead. The shift really started in game 3 or game 4. And then Tobias Harris, he was cooking that whole playoff run as well, looking like Melo, a prime Melo out there. He was straight up balling. But then the Cavs came into game 7 on the road in Detroit, blew them out, took care of business. I was shocked, pleasantly shocked. And they move on to conference finals first time since 2018 with LeBron James over there. But no LeBron in sight for those Cavaliers. The Knicks would absolutely sweep the Philadelphia 76ers rivalry. Brunson was on the here that game 4 in Philly, the Mother's Day massacre heard around the world. Deuce McBride. He had 25 points, 7 threes. Something crazy. The Knicks had 25 threes as a team, tying an NBA 3-point playoff record, and they advanced to the conference finals for the second year in a row. Now, for the conference finals. In the West, I've seen a lot of great games in my life. There was the 3-1 Game 7 2016. That was great. We'll talk about the Knicks finals. But this one was nasty. Game 1. A double OT duel. I think it was double OT or OT duel. Caruso had 33 points. Shea did not shoot the best. Chet, honestly, he was a ghost that whole series. Wemby pulling up from the parking lot to tie the game. He had 42 and about, I think, was it 20? Yeah, he was nasty. He put the world on notice for sure in that game. They stole game 1 on the road. No De'Aaron Fox either. He will miss the first 2 games of the series. J-Dub had a great game 1. He had 26 points, but he was never the same throughout that series. AJ Mitchell caught an injury. Dylan Harper caught an injury as well. But AJ Mitchell and J-Dub after game 5, no more. And J-Dub tried to give it a go in game 6. Only played about, 10 minutes? Only had 1 point, and he did not look good whatsoever. Did not play in game 7. Neither did A.J. Mitchell. And the Spurs won game 7 on the road, advancing to their first NBA Finals since 2014. Meanwhile, the New York Knicks, down 93-71 in game 1, Eastern Conference Finals at home. People were disappointed. All of a sudden, Captain Clutch, Jalen Brunson, led the rally, led the troops, and they came back and won game 1 in overtime. It was great. Jalen Brunson kept cooking James Harden left and right, just straight up cooking him like it didn't even matter. Just straight up cookery, and it was not right. It was just not right whatsoever. And then they would be going to sweep them, especially in a blowout game 4 and game 3. It did not matter. The Knicks would advance to the first final since 1999, and New York was going crazy. And then we were in NBA Finals. The teams that met up in the NBA Cup were here. The New York Knicks taking on the San Antonio Spurs, a rematch of 1999, where the Spurs won in 5 games. Each game of the series, the Spurs led by double digits, ladies and gentlemen. Game 1, Spurs. They were up 14 points. Knicks were underdogs in this series. Wemby looking to get his first ring. The refs were terrible, not to mention that, but I'll get to that more later. But then Jalen Brunson did not shoot the best. Didn't banged up all game long. Had an injury, and Cornette stepped on his ankle. It did not matter, and he was terrific, hitting clutch shots down the stretch. The Knicks took game 1, and Karl-Anthony Towns would outplay Wemby in game 1 and game 2. He was great defensively and offensively. He outplayed Wemby in both games. Like the early finals MVP, which was Karl-Anthony Towns during game 1 and game 2. Game 2 went down a wire, but Wemby threw a bad pass to the back of Stephon Castle that cost the game and missed the game-winning jumper over Mitchell Robinson. And Brunson made 1 or 2 free throws, and the Knicks stole game 2, taking a 2-0 series lead. And De'Aaron Fox was looking bad, and Dylan Harper was looking great. Game 3, the Spurs took a much-needed game 3, winning 115-111. Brunson took some criticism in the media. Then game 4, Spurs led by 29, 81-52, and 9:33 remaining in the third quarter. It looked like Spurs could tie the series 2-2. Looked like I'll clear the Knicks again. But nope. Jalen Brunson led the rally. OG Anunoby coming off a 28-point game 3, had 33 points, including the tip-in of Manhattan. The miracle of Manhattan, as one of the YouTubers called it. It was just a straight bona fide comeback. One of the greatest games I ever saw in my life. It was a straight baller of a game, ladies and gentlemen. It went down to the wire, and it was amazing. And the Knicks would take game 4, taking a 3-1 series lead. And then in the closeout game 5, the Knicks, they were down 13-23, a very low-scoring game. And it didn't matter. The Spurs, and throughout the whole series, Wemby kept getting tired, and the rest were on him. And then one play during the game, Wemby, I don't know, I guarantee you it was on purpose. And especially one game, Wemby threw Jalen Brunson to the ground. Jose Alvarado, next game, tripped Wemby up. I like that. Ole! Yeah, I like that. And then Jalen Brunson, nothing was working. Nothing is working in game 5 for the Knicks. Nobody. Cat was in foul trouble. OG was in foul trouble. But when there's trouble, you know to call. His name is Jalen Brunson. 45 points. One of the greatest closeout games in NBA Finals history. And the Knicks win their first title since 1973, winning 94-90 on the road in San Antonio. Spurs did not shake hands. Wemby did not shake hands. A lot of people have mixed reactions about that. But, yeah, I shake hands. But I think that'll be dusted on the rug. But people won't forget about Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, and the rest of the Pistons not shaking hands. Could be Dennis Rodman, Bill Lambert's idea, but did not matter. People still live it up to this day. Maybe the Spurs will continue. It'll be brought up in history as Spurs did not shake hands. But the Knicks won the finals in 5 games. Jalen Brunson was finals MVP. Well-deserved, unanimous, Captain Clutch, silencing all the haters, the Becky Hammonds, the Draymond Greens, even though he's kind of supportive. But the people saying small guard can't win. He joined an exclusive club of Isaiah Thomas and Steph Curry as the only small guards to lead your franchise to an NBA title, and they all won a finals MVP. It was the year of the Knicks winning the NBA Cup and winning the NBA championship. It will go down in New York history. But a lot of questions the offseason. The draft is next week. Free agency will be in July. But I don't know if I should do more videos like this, like a whole season recap. Maybe I should do 2016 or any other year y'all want me to do. But it was a lot of fun making this. But make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. Check my website. Check the link in the description below. And embrace the chaos.